Mr. President, I'm honored to come to the floor today and join my colleagues to support the nomination of Judge Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court of the United States. Judge Gorsuch is an exemplary pick for my home state of North Dakota and also for our nation as a whole. He's shown deep respect for the Constitution and has a strong record of upholding the rule of law. If confirmed, Judge Gorsuch will take the seat that was held by the late Justice Antonin Scalia. Of course, filling that vacancy will be no easy task. Justice Scalia was a brilliant legal mind who had earned the respect of many in the legal community during his nearly 30 years on the Supreme Court. He was a true defender of the U.S. Constitution and sought to protect it so that future generations of Americans could live and thrive in a free society. His legacy on the court will influence American jurisprudence for generations to come. If there is anyone who is worthy of filling Justice Scalia's shoes, it is Judge Gorsuch. Like Scalia, Judge Gorsuch is an originalist when it comes to interpreting the Constitution. I had the pleasure of meeting with Judge Gorsuch last week to discuss his nomination, and I'm confident that he will make an excellent justice. Mr. President, if you look at his background, it is clear that he is an incredibly qualified nominee. After receiving degrees from Columbia, Harvard, and then Oxford, Judge Gorsuch went on to clerk for notable Supreme Court Justices Byron White and Anthony Kennedy before entering private practice. After 10 years of private practice, Gorsuch began his career in public service as a Deputy Associate Attorney General at the United States Department of Justice. In 2006, he was nominated by George Bush to be the United States Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit, and he was confirmed unanimously by the United States Senate. Let me repeat that. He was confirmed unanimously by this body. I believe that says a lot about Judge Gorsuch as a candidate. In a body that is so often divided, a candidate that can receive unanimous support is truly noteworthy. When nominated by the President, Judge Gorsuch said, quote, "A judge who likes every outcome he reaches is very likely a bad judge, stretching for results he prefers rather than those the law demands," end quote. During his tenure on the 10th Circuit, he has demonstrated fair and prudent judgment in his opinions. In addition to his impressive professional background, Judge Gorsuch has roots as a Westerner and will bring those roots and a much-needed perspective to the Supreme Court. Because decisions that come from the court affect the lives of Americans from across the country, it's important that the court is comprised of justices from different regions of the country. It's critical that our next Supreme Court justice has familiarity with the challenges Western and Midwestern states like my home state and others face. Issues such as states' rights, Second Amendment rights, land use disputes, and the complex relationship between state and tribal governments. These are the everyday realities that we face across this country that the justices must deal with. I expect many of these important issues to come before the Supreme Court in the coming months. In fact, just yesterday, the court decided to move forward on litigation regarding former President Obama's Waters of the U.S. rule, also known as WOTUS, which has had a significant burdensome impact on farmers and ranchers and threatens the constitutional role of the states. Judge Gorsuch's background also makes him a prominent voice for Indian country. As chairman of the Senate Indian Affairs Committee, I believe it's important for our next Supreme Court justice to have a concrete record of respecting tribal sovereignty. I was pleased to learn that he has earned the support of a number of Native American groups, including the National Congress of American Indians and the Native American Rights Fund. Judge Gorsuch has a long history of handling cases that affect Native Americans from his time on the 10th Circuit. And he's demonstrated a consistent understanding of the unique legal principles involved in federal tribal law. The boundary between state and tribal authorities is often ambiguous. Yet Judge Gorsuch was able to bring clarity as he diligently studied the law and respected existing precedents in tribal sovereignty. For example, the Ute tribe of Utah has been engaged in legal battles with the state over the state's authority to prosecute Native Americans on tribal land. Judge Gorsuch has consistently ruled in favor of tribal sovereignty. In Hydro Resources versus EPA, case in which EPA overreach was redefining the boundaries of Indian lands, Judge Gorsuch overruled EPA's interpretation and respected the current tribal boundaries. Mr. President, for all these reasons, I urge a yes vote on Judge Gorsuch's nomination. As the highest court in the land, the decisions have a widespread impact on millions of Americans. When the stakes are this high, it is necessary that we confirm someone with a sound, fair, and prudent approach to the law. I have no doubt that Judge Gorsuch is the right person for this role. I enthusiastically support his nomination and urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to do the same.